欢迎收看《家国纵横》，我是康凯。他的格言是要好好对待动物。俄乌战争期间，他与他的女儿前往波兰接近乌克兰的边境，救助了一批无家可归的猫狗。有人好奇地问，为什么不去接济难民，而去帮助动物？他的回答很简单和直接，因为他是一名兽医。其实他执业20多年来，除了本身兽医诊所客人以外，他还参与义务工作，前往印度、埃及、希腊、牙买加等国家，为有需要的猫狗甚至野生动物做手术。这样做最大的动机是什么？最大的回報又是什麼呢？
I am welcome so far. I am welcome everywhere I go, and I'm often asked to come back. I started doing volunteer work abroad 6 years ago. The summer of 2016 was my first trip. It was a 3-week trip to Jamaica. We focused mostly with the Jamaican SPCA in Kingston, but also in the north coast, Montego Bay, working with some animal rescues and going right down into the caves and dealing with research on bats and helping release baby turtles into the ocean. It was quite an adventure.
Dr. Cliff 是一位兽医，他有自己的 YouTube 网络平台，上载很多他自己剪辑的视频和游踪，包括宠物猫狗的保健常识，还有他医治野生动物后放还到大自然等。那么他是如何开展到海外救助动物的义务工作呢？
I graduated in 1998, so I've been a veterinarian now half of my life. And it was something that as my kids grew up and left the house, I had some time. And it was something that I loved doing, the adventure travel. Now, I had no experience with wildlife. So I actually started volunteering. I volunteer once a week at a wildlife rescue here in north of Markham called Shades of Hope. And that gave me the experience and the knowledge to treat birds with broken wings and deer and porcupines and little bats and snakes and a little bit of everything. So it's become a new sort of part of my career that I love and something I'll be doing well into retirement.
Welcome to Egypt!
My daughter and I, she usually accompanies me. We've been as far as India, we've been to Panama, even during the pandemic we were in Panama and Ukraine. Greece, we helped out during the wildfires in rescuing animals that were burnt and displaced. It's often 14, 15-hour days, just work, 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 sleep, more work, sleep. We don't go to the beach, we don't go sightseeing. But to me, that's a bit of a vacation, and I come back rejuvenated and inspired. I love my career. The only thing that was done sort of spur of the moment was recently when we went to Poland and Ukraine. I made that decision, and within 3 or 4 days, I was on a plane and heading over there to help. We went to Poland. My daughter and I went for 2 weeks at the end of March. We got back early April, and it was really just to help out with the animals and cats, the dogs and cats and the various animals that were displaced and injured from the war. And also to help the people as they're bringing their animals across the border. These people have to go on to a safe country, potentially for the rest of their lives, and we needed to help them with their animals, make sure their animals were healthy and able to make the transport, and make sure their vaccines are up to date and all the sort of paperwork stuff that's needed. It was very heartbreaking. We not only worked in Poland, and we were right on the border where there were 40,000 people a day crossing into Poland just at that one spot. So you can imagine what's going on all over the country of Poland. But we actually went into Ukraine as well, into Lviv, and to see the destruction. I mean, we could smell the missile strikes that had happened very recently, a couple of days prior, and to see these dogs and these cats and these pet owners in such sort of anxious and traumatic situation was very hard to witness.
作为医者，人心人术，无国界的医生和兽医的爱心，都是跨越国界，克服语言、地域、文化甚至局势的障碍，无私地贡献出自身的专业技能。
There are a countless number of organizations. We not only worked with 3 animal rescues while we were there, but also a couple of animal rescues that came from the U.S. I worked with a veterinarian that, just like me, just jumped on a plane from Australia, so I became good friends with him. And then we even worked with humanitarian aides at some points, helping feed people and helping people get to their buses and get to a safe place. So there are hundreds of volunteer stations and communities now. It's been really nice seeing the the world come together from all over the globe to help out these people in Ukraine.
Dr. Khalif 对促进动物福祉不遗余力的热忱，从自己的动物诊所延伸到海外，从家畜宠物延伸到野生的飞禽走兽，用行动实践出爱是无止境的。
I always go to places that are underserviced, that don't have enough veterinarian care, and frankly don't have enough human doctor care, and I'm often helping out a little bit with sort of human care as well and bringing supplies with me. The challenges are basically, we're having to do a lot with very little drugs, very little surgical equipment, and dealing with such poverty and sort of difficulties in bringing this care to these animals.
他多次出行也遇上不少麻烦，通常是因为他携带着大量医药及手术用品，但是当海关明白他是为了救助动物，就都表示欢迎他入境。
The biggest challenge, honestly, is the language barrier. Every place I've gone, English has not been the first language, so there's always some communication that needs to be figured out. But I think the cultural differences, the religion differences, even the food differences, that's what I enjoy. I enjoy seeing these new environments and these new people. The only time I've actually had a problem was when I was going to Jamaica, my very first trip, because I was bringing drugs with me, including narcotics. Now, I actually had permission from the government and from the Veterinarian Association, but then the person who had given me permission had fallen sick, and so the person that had taken their place didn't know I was coming. So I'm sitting there in customs, we had to wait 3 or 4 hours, and I finally pulled a joke and said to the custom agent, "Who actually brings drugs into Jamaica? What am I going to do?" And so she laughed and she kind of made a few phone calls and finally said, "Okay, you're legitimate, just don't sell it. Use it on the animals and everything's okay." And since then, everyone's just been good. I've just made sure I have my credentials, my licensing available to show people, a very good inventory of what I'm bringing. And once they see that I'm working with a charity, they've all been happy to have me come.
他戏称，由于曾经习武，本能反应迅速，在治理动物时避免被咬伤或抓伤。
I lean on the people that are there, the veterinarian maybe that I'm working with, or the animal nurse that I'm working with, and together as a team, we're always able to come together. But the challenges are pretty crazy, and sometimes I'm dealing with animals I've never dealt with before. Even though I have wildlife experience, we don't have monkeys here in Canada, and I've had to do surgery on a monkey where first we had to fix a broken jaw and some teeth damage and a laceration, and later on we unfortunately had to do an arm surgery and amputate the arm. So these are all things that we just trust in our abilities and come together as a team, and things always seem to end up working out in the end. We had the bald eagle come here to Wellington, brought by Shades of Hope. It had been accidentally shot by hunters, which is kind of weird. And it had crashed and it had broken its wing quite badly. So we did surgery to pin it back together, and it was my first sort of bird of that size. About 10 weeks later, after this thing got its strength back and could fly again, I got to release it over a frozen river, Niagara River by Niagara Falls. And literally a minute before releasing it off into the wild, I wanted to give it one more exam, and I kind of lost focus and got my hand a little too close to this bald eagle, and bam, she took a quick little nip out of my hand. I joke that she was saying thank you, and that she could have hurt me. She could have bit me a whole lot harder, but she just wanted to give me a little lesson without hurting me too much, to say, I'm still a wild animal. You gotta keep your hands away from me. That was by far the most amazing creature I've ever treated, and to see her fly off was just such a beautiful experience.
光有爱心，甚至无条件付出专业技术与宝贵的时间，但拯救行动需要财物，特别是前往海外或落后国家，可说是困难重重，资金就是重要一环。
Every single trip, other than the most recent one to Poland, I've financed myself. My business, Wellington Vet Hospital, has financed myself. So I guess I could thank my clients because they've helped keep my business running, and therefore I've been able to do these trips. But with Poland and Ukraine, we actually set up a GoFundMe page, gofundme.com/drcliffworldwidevet, and we raised close to $85,000 to help with the travel costs, which was a very, very tiny bit, and the rest is all going to the rescues. So people can help out. They can also contact, the Red Cross or Vets Without Borders or Doctors Without Borders to help with the human doctors. There's always a way, and as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it's always worth spending a little bit of money. Everyone has been so supportive with this trip to Poland and raising funds. We had one woman, not a client, I'd never met her before, a complete stranger, come in here one day on a Saturday before I was leaving. She dropped off a $5,000 check in memory of her pet who had passed away recently. It almost brought tears to my eyes. We gave each other a big hug. It was so exciting.
Dr. Cliff 至今仍心系乌克兰的小动物，同时他也期待到中国去完成多年的心愿。
Originally, I was hoping to go to Beijing before Jamaica in 2016. I was even learning how to speak Mandarin back at the time. Let's see if I can do this. 我会说一点中文. I'm hoping in the next couple of years to be able to do that. I'll have to prep my Mandarin again. But I'm very excited. I've never been to China, and I would love to go.
他是兽医，却无偿的去救助野生动物。他有自己的诊所，却无偿的到海外充当救助动物的志愿者。他的初心，他最大的动力和回报，可能不是常人能够理解。他们可能会问，为什么这样费劲去救助动物，而不是人呢？
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Why take care of the animals and use the money and the resources and the time for them when you could be helping out people? And the reality is we're all in this world together, and healthy animals mean less diseases to be spread to people. Healthy animals mean less people are going to get bitten. In the sake of India, India is the #1 place for rabies being spread from dog to people. So if I can take care of the dogs and deal with rabies cases, I'm actually protecting about 30,000 people a year get rabies just in India alone, and mostly children. And the reality is I'm not a human doctor, so my skills, my abilities are especially with animals, and this allows the human doctors to focus on the people, and I think in the end everyone's happy that we're just trying to help out. Always be kind to animals. That's the most important thing. And I mean, humans are animals too, so we got to be kind to all of us.
以上就是本期的内容。各位观众，如果想重温的话呢，可以登入城市电视网站，点击节目重温当中家国纵横的链接就可以了。我是康凯，下期节目再会。